And welcome to Wrestling Days Live. We are live for this very special show. I've got so much to talk about. I've got so much to go through. This is very, very special. This is the beginning of the rebirth, if you will, of the NWA. Now, obviously, the NWA was doing incredible stuff with Power, and everything was building towards that Crockett Cup show. That's where we were. There was a big Crockett Cup event that was coming, and we were building towards Marty Scurll against Nick Aldis, and then, of course, the pandemic happened. And everything got shut down, and basically the NWA have been away since March. Like, we haven't had any NWA. They've been on lockdown. Everything's been, ground to a halt. Finally, they've re-emerged. They've re-emerged in a slightly different form, and I understand that this is causing a little bit of confusion because, of course, this isn't Power tonight. This is something a little bit different, and what I wanted to do is just kind of start this by talking about what we're going to get tonight, right? I've done a little bit of research. I've read up on this show, got my head around what's happening, why it's happening, just so that we can, bring people up to speed. We were spoiled in the past. There's no two ways about it. We absolutely love NWA Power and NWA. We were watching Power from the very beginning. We were going back watching all the old NWA shows. But there's no denying that we were spoiled because we were getting a brand new show for free every week, and they didn't have any TV deal or anything like that. They weren't making any money off YouTube. When it comes to YouTube ads, I can tell you now, it's rubbish, right? All the big YouTubers do not make their money from YouTube ads. They make it from sponsorship deals, and they make it from little adverts that they put into the videos. They don't make it from YouTube itself because the ad revenue is awful. So same when it came to the NWA. That was, a good source of their income was YouTube revenue, and it's rubbish. So we were being spoiled. They were basically giving us that, and I would imagine losing quite a bit of money. But they were hoping that they could, build the fan base, maybe convince a TV network. I don't know, it's hard to say what their future plans were, but I'm sure they had some very exciting future plans. It's got to the point now where, we can't go back to that at the moment. We can't have a crowd. There won't be a crowd tonight. So there's no crowds tonight. So that means they can't really go back to Power. I think a big part of Power was the audience. So you can't really go back to Power. Plus, it was like losing money. It wasn't generating a lot of revenue, if any, for them. So we're doing something a little bit different. They've teamed up with the United Wrestling Network. Now, this is a group of other promotions. You've got Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, Championship Wrestling from Arizona, Championship Wrestling from Memphis. So these promotions work together. They have a champion that goes to each of the shows. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like what the NWA used to be back in the day. So you've got these different championship wrestlings that all work together, but they've all got their own wrestlers as well. So you're going to see a lot of new people tonight. You're going to see some NWA talent. We've got a massive main event. Nick Aldis defending the 10 pounds of gold against Mike Bennett. So, brilliant main event. Camille is in action as well. So, she's taken on Heather Monroe. But also, we are getting maybe the most exciting independent wrestler that's out there right now. Hammerstone. Alexander Hammerstone. He is someone that's been on my radar for, I would say, a good 12 months. And we're going to see him in action tonight. He will, mark my words, he will go to either WWE or AEW in the future. He is on the show tonight. So we're seeing big main event. The main event is what this show is kind of built around. It's a bit like a boxing show. You know, like where you get in Anthony Joshua taking on Tyson Fury, yeah? No one's talking about the matches underneath. It's all about that main event. That's kind of what tonight is. You've got this massive main event, but then you've got 6 other matches that are making up the undercard. And there's going to be some new names that we're going to be introduced to. We got some tag team wrestling. We got some championships on the line. We got Camille in action. We got Hammerstone appearing. So you've got all of that, and then this massive main event. So that's what we're seeing tonight, and this is the start of what's going to be a weekly show. It's live as well, so anything can happen. We're expecting a lot of NWA talent to show up. We're expecting there to be a few shocks and surprises. There's rumours that Nick Aldis may defend the title against the Great Muta. Apparently, Pro Wrestling Noah want to do that match in October. So we could get like the Great Muta arriving. I'm not expecting him tonight, but there's every chance that he shows up here, and then it builds towards a match that maybe happens on Pro Wrestling Noah. And as we said, next week we already know the main event. The main event for next week's show is going to be Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa main events next week's show. She's taking on Priscilla Kelly, who we've seen, I believe, in AEW. She's been around in quite a few promotions. So this is what I'm saying. I'm quite excited because there's no crowd tonight. It's going to run for an hour and a half. There's lots of interesting matchups and people for us to talk about, get excited about, like the Tribe. The Tribe look pretty cool. I don't know much about some of these guys because I'm not too familiar when it comes to indie wrestling. But I do like the look of the Tribe. They're taking on the Wolf Zaddies. So we've got the Tribe against the Wolf Zaddies. There's a few big names. Chris Dickinson, who's been on the indie scene for a long time. He's wrestled in CZW and Evolve. He is a 2-time Evolve tag team champion. He's a decent name. He is like an indie veteran. He is on the show tonight as well. So I think they've done a decent job of trying to give us something for us to like really get excited about and for us to get our teeth into. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with what they're doing. I can see Wrestling Days fan shout out to you saying hour and a half. That's short. It is quite short, but I think that it's the perfect length of time. If you go longer than an hour and a half, are people going to really invest in that length of time? Because this is a lot of unknowns. Certainly for me, I don't know a lot of these names. I'd love to sit here and pretend that I do. But I watch WWE, I watch AEW. I try to keep my eye on any up-and-coming talent like Hammerstone. I've heard of EJ Sparks. I've seen a little bit of him on YouTube. And so they're actually facing each other tonight. So there's a few names in here that do resonate, but most of them do not. So I think watching them for, say, an hour and then half an hour for the main event makes perfect sense. Now, of course, this is behind a paywall. You do have to pay for this. It's $7.99, £7.99, or something like that. I bought the bundle. You can get the first 4 episodes for like £24, $24, something like that on Fight. It's over on Fight. So you can go over there and order it. As we said, we know what next week's main event's going to be, and that's Thunder Rosa. And I'm sure we'll get more kind of indie talent making up the undercard. Oh, we don't know what week 3 main event's going to be or week 4 main event at this stage. And I'm sure that at some point Power will return. But until we can get a crowd back, they don't want to do that. And I totally understand. Plus also, if they can generate some sort of revenue from this, more power to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, all we want to do is see the NWA succeed. And if this is a step that they need to take, then so be it. So be it. No problems at all. And as I said, I think they've put together a very interesting card. Right, let's jump into the chat and say hello to a few people. Danny Barnhouse, shout out to you, says, where can you watch this? It's on fight.tv. You go over there. As I said, you do have to pay for it. It's unfortunately behind a paywall, but it's one of those. It's we were being spoiled. We were being spoiled with Power. They will try to bring Power back. That's my understanding. So it's not as if, like, this is it, it's done. But until you can get a crowd, I'm sure even you would agree, you can't really run Power, a studio show, without that audience. That audience is such a big part. It's such an intimate setting that if the audience isn't there, it's really going to lose a lot of its magic. So hopefully we get Power coming back, but I don't think it comes back until probably 2021, but who knows? They might even have some announcements or something on the show tonight. Thunder Rosa is fighting tomorrow as well. That's true. Yep. Austin 316, shout out to you. Future Compilations says, who do you think is most likely to win the main event tonight? That's a really great question. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch, but there's a 10 pounds of gold episode on the NWA channel. It was about 20 minutes long, and it looked at Mike Bennett and Nick Aldis and what they've been up to and what this match means. Because this match has kind of come out of nowhere. We weren't talking about this match back in March when we were building towards the Crockett Cup. So we've gone into lockdown. We've still going through the pandemic. And now we're kind of here. And now we've got this match seemingly out of nowhere. So it was very interesting to see how this match came about. This is Mike Bennett's first match since he left WWE. I saw an image of him backstage with Maria. So I believe Maria, I think Mike and Maria are going to be on the show tonight. I didn't know if she was going to be on the show, but I believe she is. So I'm expecting to see Mike and Maria. This is Mike's first match since leaving WWE. He spoke a lot in that 10 pounds of podcast. I love those guys. But he spoke a lot in that 10 pounds of gold about the fact that he was misused in WWE. He says that it took him a long time to not blame them for that. He needed to look at himself. He was saying that he loves wrestling, and it was at the point where he was thinking of walking away. Like the way that his character was treated, the fact that he was being embarrassed by Maria, and the fact that he was just being treated with a lot of disrespect, really, kind of got him thinking about maybe he should walk away. And he said what really came out of all of this is his love for wrestling. He realized that he can't walk away because he loves wrestling that much. And he's spoken a lot about the fact that he's had addiction problems. That was a big part of the 10 pounds of gold show. And him trying to overcome that and be a better person, if you will. It was really interesting. I would say watch it if you haven't had a chance, but we're pretty close to the show now. My gut feeling is that this is going to be an incredible match, but I think Nick Aldis gets the job done. So I'm expecting Nick Aldis to get the win tonight. I think there's big matches on the horizon for him. As we said, Nick Aldis potentially taking on the Great Muta, so who's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So I don't think they're going to want to jeopardize that. So honestly, if it wasn't for that Great Muta rumor, I might lean towards a title change here. You know what I mean? Really shock the world. It'd be a good way of making sure everyone knows about this Primetime Live. Because it's not just this little inconsequential show. They are defending the title tonight. The title, the NWA title, is on the line tonight. Nick Aldis could lose the 10 pounds of gold tonight. A title that he's had since, I believe, 2018 when they did the rematch. It's a tasty main event. Both guys saying that they just want to make their kids proud, want to make their wives proud. And I loved Nick Aldis cut a really great promo, actually. He was saying, when I look over the ring, I'm going to see someone who in one day, in his first appearance, thinks he's going to take away everything that I've spent years building. It's not going down like that. It's not going down like that. Nick Aldis basically saying, like, he's put a lot into the NWA, and now Mike Bennett's just going to rock up and take that belt away. Because, I mean, you've got to think, if he did win, the whole landscape of the NWA would change. It would. I mean, it is so built around Nick Aldis, because Nick Aldis is the champion, not only the champion, but he's such a vocal champion as well, and plays such a big part, like, behind the scenes also. So for someone to take that title off him, it would really change the dynamic. I kind of feel like it would be a good thing for them to like change the title on this show, because this would really send the message. Do you know what I mean? Like, anything can happen on Primetime Live. What's happening now? Like, Mike Bennett is the new end. What happens next week? Like, who's he going to defend the title against? Do we get the rematch? Or, like, is Nick Aldis going to go away and try and have to figure out where it went wrong? Or, I don't know. It would send a big message. But, because Aldis has held it for, over 650 odd days or something. So, he's had a fantastic run. I feel like we're at the point where they could now change the title over. I don't want them to. I would keep it. I would like to keep it on Aldis, but I'm just saying this wouldn't be the worst show to change it on, because you kind of need to let people know that this is happening, So, yeah, really interesting stuff, though. Really, really interesting stuff. Days, the war has begun. I'm coming after you. Okay. 27, Freddie Mitch says, if Nick Aldis loses, he can then focus on running the company. Well, his relationship with that is quite interesting, because I think that his role has just continued to grow. So I think when he first came in, he was literally just like a wrestler. But when Power started and he was the champ, obviously, you listen to your champion. You make them your champion for a reason, because that's the person you want to be the figurehead of your company. And so, of course, if you are the champion, you have a little bit more influence, a little bit more pull as a result. And so I think that he was able to, get his thoughts across when he was champion. But then, of course, NWA has gone through a lot of changes. There's a lot of producers that aren't there now. There's a lot of backstage things that have had to change. And I think Nick Aldis has just found himself going deeper and deeper and getting more and more involved. So, yeah, I don't know that he would want to lose the championship. He is a prize fighter. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And it's not a championship that he would want to lose. And certainly not where you've got like a dream match against the Great Muta on the horizon. But I think what's interesting is his reign has been so long and his reign has been so successful that honestly you can sit here now and go, when do they do it? Do you know what I mean? I didn't think he would lose it to Marty, and I don't think he loses it tonight. But I'm definitely at the point where I think it could happen. Sometimes, do I think we're still sat here in a year's time with Nick Aldis as champ? Probably not. Probably not. You'd have to think that they'll do that title change at some point, just to wake things up. Do you know what I mean? Like, the NWA went away for like 4 or 5 months. So you kind of need a refresh. We're back. Do you know what I mean? And one of the ways you can say that you're back, it's not the only way, but one of the ways you can say that you're back is by changing the title and having a new champion. And Mike Bennett wouldn't have been the worst person to put that belt on. Former WWE superstar. First match outside of the WWE on the first episode of Primetime Live. Wouldn't have been the worst time, but I don't think it happens. I think Nick Aldis retains. Donna Mitchell, shout out to you, says, can I get a shout out? Can you shout out my niece, Isabella? Absolutely. Shout out to you and to Isabella. Heather Wright, shout out to you. You haven't missed anything. We've literally just been talking about what the show is, the fact there's no crowd, why they're doing this compared to Power, talking about how they're working with other promotions now, like I didn't know that the UWM was like an organization. I thought that it was just a network that you put shows on or something, but it's not. It's basically a collection of promotions all under this UWN umbrella. It's called the United Wrestling Network. And as we said, that's Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, Championship Wrestling from Arizona, Championship Wrestling from Memphis. Shout out to Imtiaz. Hello, buddy. Hope you are well. Shout out to you. Gavin E says, Matt Riddle just followed me. Very cool. Ricky Freezer. Shout out to you. Says, for anyone confused, Nick Aldis is married to Mickie James. She's getting a WWE push again. He's going to do the job and go to WWE. I would love for that to happen. I would love for... You know what happened with Mickie James last night? I would love for that to be a work. I would love it if they've worked everyone. I'll admit they will have worked me as well. But I have said in the watch-alongs a few times, I would love it if... Because it's quite interesting. Bruce Pritchard came out and spoke out about how he doesn't think that Nick Aldis has got it. And that upset Nick Aldis. So Nick Aldis came out and was laying into Bruce. He was like, you don't have to watch my work, but don't go, bad-mouthing me, kind of a thing. Then they brought Mickie James back, and they've constantly shown her disrespect. So Mickie James has come back, and, she's having a match, but they're not showing the match. They're showing Seth talking to the commentators. Then last night she was having a match, and the referee has called the match early, and she hasn't tapped or anything. So that's more disrespect that's been shown. I like the idea that they're disrespecting Nick Aldis, they're disrespecting Mickie James, and at some point Nick Aldis has enough and goes to WWE. And, if they had any kind of an agreement, I just think it'd be... Could you imagine if the NWA champion arrived on Raw or SmackDown with the actual £10 of gold standing there? I mean, Nick Aldis looks like $1 million anyway. But with that belt coming to get some revenge on the disrespect that him and his family have been shown, it would be incredible. If WWE have managed to strike that deal with Billy Corgan and the NWA, then wow, absolutely incredible. But I don't know. I don't know that it's going to go that way. If it is a work, they are working me. They are fooling me. If that is what's happening, then I am completely blind. I will be blindsided by it. But yeah, I'd love to think that's what's happening, and it's not that they are actually disrespecting, because there has been some disrespect definitely shown. So yeah, there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of stories, potential sub-stories. It's kind of interesting. NWA needs loyal people. I'm glad that Wade Barrett left. Well, I mean, it's a little bit tricky with the Wade Barrett thing, because I don't know. He could come back for Power. He might have gone. I haven't heard if he's signed full-time with NXT. But he may come back for Power. I'm not too sure. Joe Galley, I know, is still around. Joe Galley is a big part of NWA. Apparently, he's not going to be doing the call-in tonight. This is live. It's coming from Thunder Studios, which I'm sure Thunder Rosa could call the Thunder Rosa Studios next week. But it's coming from Thunder Studios in Los Angeles, I believe. So, and it's live from Thunder Studios, no crowd. I've heard it's 90 minutes, an hour and a half, 7 matches. Lots of people that I don't know, but I think this show is going to go really quick. If you think about how quick an hour's episode of Power used to fly, yeah? This is just going to be Power, but with a killer main event attached. There's going to be new championships that we won't have seen before. We're going to see the West Coast Pro Championship. We're going to see the UWN TV Championship. We're going to see superstars we've never seen before. So looking at their entrances, looking at their ring attire, looking at how they work and, who impresses us. And there's so much for us to talk about that I think it's going to absolutely fly. I really think this show is going to fly. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that they can put on a really great show for us. I would hate for it to be like that. It doesn't quite connect. You've obviously got to pay for it as well. And people are like, yeah, it's just not for me. I'd hate for that to be the case. But knowing the NWA, it won't be. When the chips are down, they always deliver. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. Monica King, shout out to you. John, shout out to you. Chalmers, shout out to you. David Paul, shout out to you. John says, who's got better fashion, Tuck or Zelina Vega? Well, I'd say Zelina Vega, but Tuck obviously knows her way around the Tuck world. So she clearly is in on fashion as well. But yeah, I think they could make a great tag team. There's no denying that. Stephen Goodwin, shout out to you. Says, Days, good to see you. Excited for the show. I'm going to give it a shot. Shout out to you, buddy. Yeah, that's all we can do, isn't it? It's all we can do. I mean, there's no denying that the main event delivers. I don't think any of us are sitting here thinking that main event's going to be flat. Mike Bennett, first match back, he's going to really want to prove that what we saw in WWE is not him. So he's going to be out for something to prove, and that really came across in that 10 pounds of gold. But when does Nick Aldis not deliver? I mean, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I think on that PWI 500, he came in at number 15. And the only reason he came in at number 15 is because he's hardly wrestled. He's not been active since March. I think he might have had one match in Texas since March, and that's it. So if he'd have been more active, he would have been even higher. So on that PWI, he was ranked 15th. So you really are seeing one of the best wrestlers in the world defending his championship that he's had for 650 days, the real world's champion, against Mike Bennett, who's got so much to prove. So I think that's got potential to be a real barn burner, a real great main event. Plus, they're fighters, they're wrestlers. They're going to have been sat at home, like, for some of us, not all of us, right? But for some of us, not being at school, right, or something like that, that's a pleasure. Yeah, I'm sure there's been a few people that have been sat at home during 2020 that haven't minded it too much. Not these guys. This is their lives. They're wrestlers. They're passionate about wrestling. It's what they train for. They have to keep themselves in peak physical condition. You don't do that to sit at home and watch Netflix. So they are going to be chomping at the bit. They are going to be desperate to get into that ring and show what they can do. And, man, I can't wait. Can't wait to see it. So, great main event. We got Camille in action as well. I mean, let's not ignore the fact that Camille is wrestling, taking on Heather Monroe, who has been on WWE, had a match against Nia Jax a few years ago. She's been on AEW, had a match against Hikaru Shida. I believe that she, I don't know if she's the reigning female champion for the UWN, but I know that she's a big female talent that they've got on their roster. So she's like a decent indie talent, really good indie talent that gets used by WWE and AEW for like squash matches and things. So Camille against Heather Monroe. I'm expecting Camille to get the win there, but how great that we get to see Camille in action. And as we said, Alexander Hammerstone, mark my words, he will go to WWE or AEW. That guy currently competes in MLW, and he is one of, if not their biggest stars. And really, the next level after MLW is either WWE or AEW. That's how it works. So yeah, he is on course for big things. We are seeing him tonight. So they're out there. You go. There's 3 of the 7 matches, and then you've got a big tag match. The Tribe taking on the Wolf Zaddies. That should be interesting. Tribe look awesome. They have like face paint, half of their face painted. So there is the alarm going off to tell me that it is time. So let's go to stopwatch and let's start. So yeah, the point I was making to finish off is there's plenty for us to get excited about and for us to get our teeth into. So here we go then. We got David Marquez. So David Marquez, who you'll know from Power. David Marquez says, we're going to bring you something different. Right, Chris Dickinson is here. I love the alarm, says Austin 316. So Chris Dickinson, big on the indie scene. Oh, hello. The feed just got cut. Okay, we're back. I thought it was Retribution. I thought Retribution had attacked. Great promo, though, so far. Reminds me a little bit of Eli Drake. Telling Marquez to keep his mouth shut. William Hensey, shout out to you. Jason says Marquez is great. Well, he controls, I think, the United Wrestling Network. He's all over this. I think this show as well has got something to do with him. So, yeah, he very much is all over this show. You know who I am. Now watch and learn what I'm about. Chris Dickinson tonight taking on Dickie Mayer. I don't know anything about Dickie Mayer. So a really good promo. As I said, reminded me a lot of Eli Drake. We can see the Thunder Studio now. So as we said, no crowd. Kind of narrow. So not loads of room for anyone. But here we go. We're going to start with the Hammerstone match. There is EJ Sparks. Okay, so EJ Sparks. I like the entranceway. The entranceway is the same level as the ring. Reminds me of old WCW. So here we go. We've got EJ Sparks making his way into the ring. And we should see Hammerstone coming down very, very soon. Where can I watch this? It's on Fight. EJ Sparks versus Hammerstone. EJ Sparks has got like dreads in, and I think there's something to do with the color of Arizona, I believe. He's got a very tough task ahead, taking on one of the best. Here he is, look. Hammerstone's from Phoenix, Arizona. Since Retribution failed on Raw, they're regrouping now on the UWN. DCRG, shout out to you. Liv wants... Right, Hammerstone making his way in. So, wow, look at that belt. He looks awesome, doesn't he, Hammerstone? He's got a really great look. He's got a great physique. We're seeing the UWN. Is that the West Coast Pro Championship? It's kind of like big gold in a way. It's got big gold plate at the front. And we are underway. So EJ Sparks taking on Hammerstone. This very much is one of the matches I was looking forward to. RJ Madma, shout out to you. Great takedown by Hammerstone. If this is the first time that you're watching these, EJ Sparks is very quick, very agile. Hammerstone relies a lot on his strength. I want to... Scarlett is a dominatrix type in SNM. Days, what if Nick Aldis is the leader of Retribution? That would be awesome, Woken Hulk. That would be awesome. I would love that. Leading a band of indie talent. Lots of strikes. Hammerstone. Off the middle rope goes EJ Sparks. Springboarding. Springboard Superman punch by EJ Sparks. Collides into Hammerstone in the corner. Fires in some kicks to the body. Nice forearm strike as well. So EJ Sparks trying to use his speed and agility. Tries to jump over Hammerstone. Gets caught in the back. And EJ Sparks goes down. Hammerstone, look at the size of him. He's just so impressive. His physique is so impressive. He looks really cool, man. He looks really, really cool. So EJ Sparks on the outside. Hammerstone coming over. Nice top rope enziguri by EJ Sparks. This should be a good match, says Mad G27NY. I agree. Hammerstone picks up EJ. Just slams him down. He came down from a good height then. The spinal countdown. It's like a double underhook. Picked him up and then just slammed him down. So, as we said, this is in a room. You've got the entrance stage at the top of it. The ring in the middle. The entrance ramp is level with the ring. Hammerstone working on the arm. Hurling EJ Sparks into the corner. Hurled him so hard that he went down himself. Yeah, EJ Sparks not looking good. Well, he is looking good, but not looking good for the win. Jason says Roman Reigns should wreck this match and leave because EJ Sparks used the Superman punch. Ugh. Lovely work by Hammerstone. Just absolutely dissecting EJ Sparks here. It's a really good showcase for him. Dat King, who plays, says, someone said Retribution should be all the sons of the territory promoters coming to kill the man who killed their company. I think that'd be a hard story to tell, in all fairness, because territories died off in the late 80s, throughout the 80s. So I don't know that that would be the most relevant storyline. Hammerstone has got EJ Sparks in the corner. And he's slowly walking over, quite methodical. He's looking very impressive. DCRG says, imagine if Retribution is days. Oh, I'm too busy. Too busy to be leading Retribution as well. Ricky Freezer says it's a done deal. Aldis has signed a contract. What contract? Oh no, Fight just kicked me out of that show. try and go back into it. There we go. Right, headlock, and he's managed to take EJ Sparks down. Someone in the chat saying that they can hear Joe Galley, but that's not Joe Galley. Vicey and Yogi Beesh TV, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Fight is glitching. Yeah, I've got to be honest. The picture has frozen a couple of times, and for some reason it just kicked me out altogether. But once you click back on the show, it takes you straight back in. Oh, lovely belly to belly. Hammerstone with a brilliant belly to belly there. That was as good as like a Rick Steiner. Hammerstone is in absolute control here. I can tell you that the chat in the fight thing is just absolutely loving Hammerstone. Hammerstone is huge. Hammerstone is a beast. Been a fan of Hammerstone for a bit now. Saw him on a short-lived wrestling promotion called Ring Warriors, and I'm happy that he's doing so well in MLW. He's got an abdomen stretch on, and he's driving. I love that as well. Good attention to detail. He's stretching out EJ Sparks and driving that elbow into the midsection. Goes for a clothesline. Finally, EJ Sparks getting a little bit of offense in with a nice Inzaguri kick. Vicey and Yogi Besh TV says, massive fan. Thanks for the follow on Twitter. You're a legend. Oh, shout out to you, buddy. Thank you for the support. Really, really appreciate it. And shout out to everyone that's joining us tonight as well. I know this is different. That's a massive DDT by EJ Sparks. Both guys are down right now. It's been all Hammerstone. But EJ Sparks just finding a way back into this match. The slight technical problems that we had at the start of this match just really meant that I've struggled to like really get into it because it's just kept freezing, and as we said, it kicked me out altogether. But when you actually get chance to watch a sequence, it's really good. There's some great strikes here by EJ Sparks. As the picture freezes again. A few technical problems. I don't know if it's just mine, but I can see people in the chat saying there's lag, it's buffering. Yeah, I think there is a few technical problems when it comes to fight. DKM says it's lagging at the worst times. Joe Galley is there, but I don't know if he's calling matches. I believe he may call the main event. He is the voice of the NWA. I don't believe he is there. I actually was listening to an interview in like a preview for this, and apparently Galley is in Texas and might not be able to make the show until like week 2 or 3, or they might even try and get him to provide some commentary from home. Well, at least I don't believe he's there. Obviously, that could have changed. Vape Ross Vape says, next week I am having a magic show on Fight for $3. Well, Hammerstone wins. I think Hammerstone looked very impressive. I thought EJ Sparks did well also. The only problem is the buffering. I have to give it to NWA Talent. They are really great at the pure art of today's wrestling. Oh, it is Galley. Fair play. As I said, I saw a preview show that said that Galley wasn't going to be able to make it, so that must have been a last minute change. So they've got a 3-man booth. Jennifer Lockhart, he's there. He's calling matches. Yeah, I'm amazed. The guy in the middle, I can't remember his name. I think it's Tony something. He was on a show previewing this event, and he said that Galley wasn't going to make it for the first one. He was going to be in Texas. They were going to try and get him to provide some commentary from home. That was only a few days ago. But no, you're right, he is. Hopefully this lag and this buffering can settle down, because that really took away from the first match. And I know I'm not alone with it, because I can see people commenting about it in the fight thing. Why is the show money? Well, if you think about it, AEW charged $50 for All Out, and in all fairness, I know they've got a lot of stars, but this is like half of that price for 4 weeks. You get 4 weeks worth of shows for that price, and you're still getting like some big names. You're still getting Nick Aldis. You're still getting Mike Bennett. Next week you get in Priscilla Kelly and Thunder Rosa. Who knows what they've got lined up for next week on top of that? Who knows who's going to make an appearance as well? Surprise appearances. Who knows what they've got planned for weeks 3 and 4? So I understand that it's disappointing that you have to pay for it compared to Power when you don't. But I don't mind. I can understand why they've had to go this way. They're interviewing the champ. Nick Aldis is here. So if you are just joining us, Hammerstone victorious in the first match. Nick Aldis says, you know what this means. You know how much this means to me, to Mike Bennett. Tonight. AEW is only every 4 months, whilst this is every month. This is every week. So this is back next week. Chalmers says AEW barely has pay-per-view. $50 might be too much, but they need money from different sales. That's what these guys need. These guys need money as well. I mean, you've got to remember that AEW gets paid TV money. Like, they've got deals with ITV in the UK. They've got deals with TNT. So they're getting revenue that way. Power was literally just being recorded and put up on YouTube for free. Like, it's incredible that the NWA was able to maintain doing that for so long. So I totally understand that they have got to try and make some money somehow. It is not sustainable for them to keep doing that. I don't know, as I said, what their plans were. I don't know if they were trying to build the fan base and then try to go to a TV network to try and look, we've got X amount of 100,000s of people that want to watch this show. We could be bringing all of these people to your network. I don't know if that's what they were trying to build towards, or if they were trying to get in sponsors for Power and then maybe keep it on YouTube. But they were not making money. No way were they making money from you. Well, certainly not from YouTube revenue. I can tell you that for an absolute fact. William Hensey, hi Days. Ricky Freezer says he gave you a drop and that was 100% correct. He has a WWE wrestler that owes him a lot of money. It sounds interesting. Does sound interesting. Shout out to you, William. Shout out to you, Ricky. Right, Will all day making his way down. Jordan Clearwater versus Will all day. So, this is quite interesting. Will all day is someone that's graduated from Booker T's reality of wrestling. He's also been on Raw. He competed against and won, I believe, against Kurt Hawkins. So we've got Will all day taking on... I don't know much about Jordan Clearwater. I can tell you that he wrestles... I think it's championship wrestling from Hollywood. I think he's 23. Made his debut in around 2016. So I think Will all day should get the win here, but this Jordan Clearwater might be quite interesting. First time that I'm seeing these two. Interesting, says Kristen. Shout out to you. Chalmers says NWA after the pandemic need the funds. They barely had pay-per-views as well. It's true. Hopefully they will work their way out of the hole and the network. New Japan and NWA. That'd be awesome if they could get a relationship. I mean, I could see this working if the product is strong enough. Oh, it's booted me out again. Once again, it has kicked me out of the show. Hopefully, if we go back, yeah, okay. Booker T's twin sons won SmackDown this past Friday, says Jason. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Nice. Up over the top goes Will. So Will against the ropes. Big boot by Jordan. Will round the back. Jordan's got attire that makes him look like Thanos. He's got black tights, one black boot, one gold boot, or boot covering. Will all day looking very impressive here. Nice. Inside cradle, 2. Female referee as well. So I'm not expecting this match to go for long. The whole show's only going for an hour and a half, and so far we've had one match. Unless that's changed as well. As I said, wasn't expecting Joe Galley on this show. I can't wait for tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow we've got AEW and NXT both going head to head again. Didn't know when AEW was going to be this week. Nice! Net breaker by Jordan Clearwater. Again, just a little bit of buffering. In the corner goes Will all day. Jordan was driving his shoulder in. He holds onto the ropes. Goes for a big boot. Goes for a clothesline. Round the butt. Crucifix. Pin. 2. And he gets a 2. Big clothesline. Turns Will all day inside out. And he goes for the cover. 2. Just another 2 count. NXT has moved back to Wednesdays. Yes, I believe it has. We had a couple of weeks of Super Tuesdays, but they're done now. So NXT moves back to Wednesdays. AEW didn't know when their show was going to be for this week. You might remember last week they went... literally, they had to say, we're not sure right now when we're going to air, which is a bit strange. But... because obviously there's a lot of sports and things that are happening, so I think TNT was trying to find the right time slot for them. And it's been confirmed that it is going to be tomorrow now. So we are back to a Wednesday night war. I don't know what AEW have got planned, but I know that they've got the North American Championship on the line for NXT. Big splash by Will Allday. Kick out by Jordan. North American Championship on the line. Damian Priest against Tim Thatcher. And can't remember. There was something else. Finn Balor. Title celebration, I think. Should find out what his next challenge is going to be, so that could be interesting. Some quick strikes by Will Allday. Kick to the legs as well. Duck underneath. Against the ropes. Big flying forearm by Will Allday. Tonight had 3 wrestling promotions. AEW Dark, Impact Wrestling, and NWA. Plus, I'm going to watch Ring of Honor right after, says Mad G27NY. Heather Wright says, speaking of which, did anyone notice Sugar Duncanton, a.k.a. Pineapple Pete, was the first AEW performer that jumped ship to WWE? He was on Underground last night. Was he? I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know that they'd signed Pineapple Pete. He was getting quite a bit of screen time on AEW. Has he actually signed? Knee in the back here by Will Allday. We need Finn versus Johnny at NXT TakeOver. Heather says, Bleacher Report kept buffering during All Out 2 weeks ago. It made me so mad. Yeah, I've got it frozen right now. CC says, I'm not sure they want this trending. To kick out. So this is quite a competitive match. Allday back in the corner. Clearwater in the other corner. Charging over. Collide. Looking for a running bulldog. Boom! Lovely work by Jordan. Jordan going for the pin. 2. Kick out by Will Allday. That would be an upset here if Jordan could get the victory. As we said, he's quite young. Will Allday has already appeared in WWE. Done some excellent work in Booker T's Reality of Wrestling promotion. Comes into this as favourite. Might be quite nice if we could get just like a bit of background on these guys. There's been very little. You can actually get, there is some information online. Will Allday, a former collegiate wrestling standout, risen to the top of WWE Hall of Famer Booker T's Reality of Wrestling promotion, represent the Lone Star State when he clashes with Jordan Clearwater. Clearwater, dubbed the Golden Boy, has had a long, successful 2020 on the West. Has anyone had a successful 2020? Successful 2020, that just doesn't work. He got all the way to the Percy Pringle Memorial Cup. 1, 2, 3, there we go. Jordan Clearwater gets the win. Yeah, Joe Galley saying that he backed the wrong horse on that one as well. Expected Will Allday to get the victory, but it's actually Jordan Clearwater. So, this is the Percy Pringle. Percy Pringle was Paul Bearer. The Percy Pringle, the 3rd Memorial Cup. The PP3 tournament. and debuted on New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. So this Clearwater has been on New Japan Pro Wrestling. I need to watch that show. Tommy Toy Travels keeps telling me about it. Really need to get onto that show. I mean, not literally. He was a job guy. At least I think that's what Cultaholic confirmed. Big boot. It was a big boot that won it for Clearwater. I like the look of that Jordan Clearwater. Oh, that's cool. Friendship Farm with is it Jarvis Cotton Belly? He's going to be in action. I've seen him a few times. He competed on Wrestle Circus. He had some matches against Orange Cassidy. Right, have we got Heather Monroe? So we're moving on to Camille. Camille versus Heather Monroe. So the self-proclaimed queen of championship wrestling from Hollywood. I don't know who's that guy that's come down with her. Right, and we've got entrance music as well, I should point out. We haven't been getting entrance music with NWA outside of their pay-per-views. But it means that we've got Camille. Should be making her way down. Here she is. Camille. I don't know, what was that? That was cool. She is the Brick House. The Brick House is here. She's no longer the Brick House. Camille is now the Stone Palace. It might have been a good idea to have had a shorter ref. This ref is quite tall. Kind of feel like if they had a shorter ref, it might have made the women look even bigger. So we're underway with match number 3. This is Camille taking on Heather Monroe. Heather Monroe, as we said, has competed in the WWE, competed in AEW, and the two women locking up. Camille looking absolutely huge here. Certainly hasn't been skipping her gym days. Camille has still got me blocked on Twitter. Has she? In fairness, you probably deserved it. Nice headlock there by Heather Monroe. Getting picked up by Camille. Thrown against the ropes. Shoulder tackle. Down goes Heather Monroe. Camille slightly distracted by this guy on the outside for a moment as Heather Monroe goes back against the ropes. Jumps onto Camille. And Heather Monroe driven back. Oh, big strike. Oh, and again. They look nasty strikes, man. Camille throws great strikes. Against the ropes goes Heather Monroe. Back elbow. I do like how Camille throws these shots in. You've got to think, right, if Thunder Rosa is going to sign with AEW, because they've got to have seen that positive feedback, right? She is surely dropping the title to Camille. Surely. If she's got to drop that NWA championship because she's signing with AEW, then she's surely got to be dropping that title to Camille. Maybe that's going to be one of the big main events that we'll have coming up in the future. If they're going to drop the belt, you would think it would be here, unless they do it on Dynamite. But that wouldn't make any sense, would it? Lovely, look at this. Just really working on the neck of Heather Monroe. It's all Camille here. Big kick. Monroe backed into the corner. Nice uppercut by Camille. Into the corner goes Heather Monroe. Camille looking very impressive here. Looking for a gut wrench. Yes. Wonderful. And Heather Monroe in selling here really well. In the corner. Camille in the other corner. Gonna look to charge across. New Japan Strong is awesome. It's a nice little 1 hour chunk of goodness, says Heather Wright. I need to watch it, man. I really do. Right. Everyone on the outside. I don't know who that guy is, but he's just gone running away pretty scared. Heather Monroe on the shoulders of Camille. Camille gets driven into the corner. So she's smashing Camille into this ring post. Really pulling at the shoulder of Camille. Hold on to your hats. Daisy's going to scream for Camille, says Heather Wright. Well, she's getting beaten up right now. This match has swung. The momentum is very much with Heather Monroe. Strike to the midsection. Camille has got Monroe. Samoan drop. Lovely work by Camille. Yeah, she's just selling that shoulder injury. Those collisions into the ring post. Double knees by Heather Monroe. Killer Bay. The guy on the outside's got a fan that says Killer Bay. And looks like Heather Monroe's going for the finish here. Again, just constantly buffer him. Aldis will never go to WWE, says Gabe. I'm bang into Camille, says Alex. Heather Monroe. Yeah, look like, is she going for a Kimura? Camille trying to get over to the ropes. She's going to make it. She gets there. Camille managing to get to the ropes. Heather Monroe, let's go. Camille into the corner. Heather Monroe is doing well here because she knows that she hasn't got the strength to match Camille. Knee strike coming in by Heather Monroe. Double stomp. Back of the head by Heather Monroe as Camille was draped over the ropes. Just a 1 count. Imperium versus Breezango tomorrow. Io versus Shotzi in a non-title match. And Roddy and Bobby versus Dane and Maverick. Okay. Some of that sounds all right. Sounds all right. Doesn't sound like the most exciting show in the world. Camille trying to get back into this match. RJ Madmat says, who do you want to be the NXT champ by the time Karrion Kross returns? I'd keep it on Balor, honestly. I don't like hot potato in titles around. Nice slam there by Camille. But she couldn't put Heather Monroe away. Yeah, I'd just keep it on Balor now. Working on the arm. Nice. Good work by Heather Monroe. Going over to the corner. Again, it frees him. Sadly, that's the majority of NWA's fan base. I tried, as did others, to allow it to be watched for free, or at least for it to be watched for free after it airs in real time. Up on the shoulders. I don't mind the charging. Because I understand they have to survive. They have to make money somehow. So I don't mind the charging. They've got to sort out the lagging and the freezing through fight, because you can't get into a match. I'm trying to call this action for you and tell you what's happening, and I can't do it because it keeps freezing. And I thought it was me, but all of the comments on the side are saying the exact same thing. So I know it's not just me. There's people saying that they're frustrated and things along those lines. You're going to get this at the start, so I hope it's something that can be worked out. I hope they can figure out where the issue lies and get it resolved. So I don't think this will be a problem that sticks around for long, but it definitely makes it hard to follow. Plus also, I think there's some really exciting matches that they can bring to us now. Big spear by Camille, and Camille gets the win. Because as we said, if they are going to do Nick Aldis against the Great Muta, do you get the Great Muta arriving on this show? We've already seen Hammerstone, which is exciting. One of the best indie talents that's out there. We know that we're getting Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa against Priscilla Kelly is a really exciting match. That's our main event for next week. The main event tonight, Nick Aldis against Mike Bennett. That's a really exciting match. This is like, the main events in particular are pay-per-view quality. And I'm just kind of hoping that, the more that we see this indie talent that maybe we're not familiar with, the more that we'll, get into them and whatever. But this is where the problems with Fight just aren't helping at the moment. Eli Drake is here. Eli Drake wasn't advertised, but Eli Drake is backstage with Marquez. Dace, do you think Karrion Kross should be called up after he returns? He's too big for NXT, in my opinion. Maybe. Maybe. He's got him and Scarlett look good together. If he's learned everything he needs to learn, if they've taught him everything they want to teach him, then they could. But I wouldn't be in a rush, not unless they've got a good story for him. Eli Drake says, "I hope you're all staying healthy out there." Something they've got to fix. People aren't going to want to keep paying for bad quality. I don't know who out there has got the show that's watching along. But let me know if it's happening to you as well. I should imagine that it is, because as I said, I can see the chat. This is all people are talking about in the chat at the side. I missed the crowd. Friends or not, I've got to do what's got to be done. Eli Drake against Watts next week. So Eli Drake in action next week. And next week as well, there's the confirmation. Thunder Rosa takes on Priscilla Kelly next week. So championship on the line. Thunder Rosa, Priscilla Kelly. And actually, if Thunder Rosa has signed with AEW, she could drop that title to Priscilla Kelly. We could get a new NWA Women's Champion next week. Oh, man. It just booted me out. Where is it? There we go. Right, there we go. I don't even know who this guy is now. Is that Dan Joseph? That's a nice belt. I like that belt. I don't know if you can see this belt, but this belt is it's really nice. It's got two different colors on the strap. Don't tend to see that. The outside of the strap has got some nice like brown leather. The middle part of the strap has got black leather. It looks really cool. The main plate maybe got a bit too much color on the go. Dan Joseph then, is this our next match? Dan Joseph taking on Levi Shapiro? No, the Tribe. The Tribe look good. So the Tribe against Wolf Zadis. Okay, so these two apparently have been fighting quite a bit on the... They look good. So this guy's got a lot of Samoan tattoos. So I'm guessing they're both Samoan. I know that the Tribe are Hawaiian Lion and Navarro Warrior. Like I said, Bleacher Report did this to me and it drove me crazy. I like the look of the Tribe. I think they're a decent tag team. They look good anyway. Haven't seen them compete all that much, but they're taking on Wolf Zadis. Jennifer says, I've just been kicked out again. Ashley says, are you getting frozen screen and pixels? I'm disappointed and frustrated. Yeah, good. I am. I think everyone is. If you look at the comments, it's a real problem. Wrestle Supreme says, I keep getting error 404. Rocco says, is this gonna rerun later? It's too messed up to watch. DKM says, I just got booted out. Manuel says, the buffering is killing it. CC says, I got booted out again. Yeah, it's happening to everyone, unfortunately. As I said, I think they'll get it sorted. I just don't know that they're going to be able to get it sorted for this first episode. But I think they'll be watching this and they'll get the message loud and clear that because you can't. I mean, you can't get into the matches. That's the problem. I can't sit here and tell you really what's going on because as we're talking, it will buffer or you'll get booted out or something along those lines. So it is a problem they need to resolve. It's a shame they couldn't get a gig like Impact did with Twitch, says Heather. Steven says, do you remember the Raw and SmackDown that came from Glasgow in 2016 on the run-up to Survivor Series? Not off the top of my head. I do remember that they've done them from Glasgow. Didn't they do some more recently than 2016? I would have swore they did one more recently from Glasgow than that, but I know they have done them there. Ricky says Thunder Rosa has signed with AEW, NWA no longer. They might draw out the title defenses, do some inter-promotional matches, but Corgan got denied for his loan. Yeah, I don't know where they are. I don't know if it is signed or not. I can't remember if I've seen that news confirmed. Have you seen that confirmed, Ricky? Have they that? I haven't seen the She's All Elite graphic yet. RJ Madma, shout out to you. Ben Patterson, shout out to you, buddy. The pay-per-views need to have 25 to 50% attendance. I miss the pretty lights. I'll tell you what I miss, right? I know it's episode 1, but you're getting what they're giving you is match after match after match after match after match, right? So what you're getting is like a pay-per-view. The only problem is I don't know who these people are. I've got no connection to them. I don't know the backstory. I kind of feel like I need some of that. I need some story. What I could do with is a little video package telling me about next week's performers, who they are, little bit about them. Why should I care? What have they achieved? What are they trying to achieve? What's their gimmick? Do you know what I mean? Like, give me a little bit about next week. In fairness, they have done that with Eli Drake, but I already know Eli Drake. What I don't know are some of the indie talents. Now, granted, you know can go off and do your own research and whatever, but yeah, I could do with a little something on the show. Like right now, I'm watching The Tribe, who look great, but I just don't know. I don't know loads about them. Tribe against Wolf Zaddies. I don't know who the faces are. I don't know who the heels are. I don't really know who I should be rooting for. I'm rooting for the Tribe because they look awesome. Some good tag team work. Thez press there by one of the Wolf Zaddies. They were gonna but had to cancel the show and make it a house show main event. Fiend versus Rollins in a steel cage. Oh, right. Days, I know for a fact, I won't give my connection, but it's 100% accurate. Mad G27MY, Thunder Rosa is a big name now, and she's a loyal person. She will do NWA proud. Tribe going for the cover. So if you are just joining us, we've already had Jordan Clearwater against Will Allday. Clearwater was victorious. We've also had EJ Sparks against Hammerstone. Hammerstone victorious. Camille against Heather Monroe. Camille picking up the victory. And right now we're underway with Tribe against Wolf Zaddies. And I do think the Tribe look quite interesting. Jennifer Lockhart, shout out to you, says, did a live stream with Thunder Rosa before this, and she has not signed with AEW. Yeah, I hadn't seen that work. I hadn't seen anything. You did a live stream with Thunder Rosa. That's really cool. Yeah, I hadn't seen that news. I think she could. Going for the cover, the Tribe, but referee saying that wasn't the legal Wolf Zaddy. Lovely work there by Wolf Zaddies. Tag team work. 2 makes the save. All 4 members of both teams in the ring. Thunder Rosa is a lovely woman. She is. She deserves all the success. I mean, if she ends up going to AEW, I don't think any of us are going to begrudge her that. The face of fear. Yeah, no one would begrudge her that. She could end up dropping the title next week if she does sign or has signed with AEW. You've got to think they're going to. I don't see how. I mean, she got universal praise. And that women's division needs Thunder Rosa. So, yeah, I can't see how they won't pick her up. Steven says, my point was that I was at Raw and SmackDown. Have you ever been to Raw and SmackDown? I have, yes. I was at Raw and SmackDown at the O2 in 2019. I was at both of those shows in London. And I have been to a couple in London before. I've even been to a couple of house shows in Birmingham. Chalmers says, I can't get into this. I'm going to have to watch some indies in my spare time. I have to agree. I, I can't comment if I would be able to get into it or not if it weren't for the buffering problems, but that's overriding everything tonight. It's the big thing that everyone's talking about, and I don't want to keep banging on about it, but people are not going to watch this show if this continues. It's a big problem. They've got to fix it. And not knowing the backstory on these teams, again, you can say that, as wrestling fans, we should go and do a bit of homework and find out a bit about them. But honestly, you're paying money to kind of give this a chance. You'd want a little bit of backstory there, even if you do less matches and do more vignettes and kind of give us some backstory and kind of give us something that's going to help us get into the matches. You could really build up that this is a grudge match. These two teams have faced each other X amount of times over the past couple of years. It's all coming down to this. Who is going to be the team in the UWN? And not only are we going to establish that, but they will face the NWA Tag Team Champions in 2 weeks' time. And all of a sudden, this match then has got some meaning. So they're fighting now to establish who is the team. But also, there is a prize. And that prize is in 2 weeks' time, the winner will go on to face the tag champs. That then means that you're setting up the show in 2 weeks' time as well. And you're advertising a match that's coming up. And it's a little carrot that you're dangling. And do you know what I mean? Like, at the moment, this is just a match between two teams I don't know. And it's being plagued by buffering. And I kind of feel like there's a lot more story that could be brought in. And I know that they are going to do that. I know that they are going to look to bring in story. This is something that they want to keep running with. We know it's around for the next 4 weeks. They've already told us what next week's main event is, and it's Thunder Rosa. That's a good draw. That's good. I'm on board with that, definitely. Thunder Rosa, Priscilla Kelly, that's a great main event. And tonight's main event is epic as well. Feels like there needs to be some work done with this undercard at the moment. Certainly with no crowd, it is a little sterile. I mean, obviously you're kind of used to it by now. The bell has sounded. I think, have we run out of time? So, time limit expires. What was the time limit? 10 minutes. So, time limit draw. Have Strictly Business disbanded? I don't know. I don't think so. Dave Marquez. Okay, so maybe we are going to get some story here. No. Okay, so here's Mike Bennett. And again, it's buffering, so I can't tell you. A time limit draw. Yeah, it's gone to a time limit draw. So I don't know if we're going to get a rematch or anything. Days, what do you think about the future of the NWA and the future of Tessa Blanchard? I think the future of the NWA is up in the air. I think that what a promotion. That promotion has got so much love that, once Power comes back, people will just jump all over it. I mean, this makes you really appreciate Power. I don't want to be I don't want to be down on this, but I've got to be honest. There's problems here that have got to get worked out. I've just got booted out again. I'm trying to sit here and you know what I mean. I'm trying to watch that promo and tell you what's going on, and I've just been kicked out of the show. I don't even know if I can find my way back. Oh, hang on, I'm in MMA. That's why. There we are. So, they've got work to do with this show. They've got work to do with this show, and we need to get Power back. But Power is on hold, I believe, until we actually get a crowd back. Did you know that in regards to Tessa, I don't know. There's lots of rumors that she might go to AEW or WWE. I could see that happening. She is a good talent. I mean, there's no denying she's great in the ring. There's just allegations made against her that she was quite an unsavory person. It's believed as well, not confirmed, but it's believed that WWE didn't touch her, didn't take her when they had her. She was in the Mae Young Classic. So it's believed they didn't take her because she was a problem backstage. There's Maria as well. Maria is here. Yeah, I don't know what the future's going to hold for her. Ray Rosas is going to defend the Hollywood Heritage Championship next week. They simple words. Use Google. What for? What am I using Google for? Aldis won't go to WWE, says Gabe. NWA titles be defended on the Indies. There's no more NWA for the time being. Chris Dickinson has made his way down. So we are an hour into this show. It's lacking the charm of Power. It is literally match after match after match. Lots of talent that I'm not familiar with. Struggling to connect with because of the buffering. Definite work to be done. Show pretty much built on its main event. But a great main event. I do keep coming back to the fact it is a great main event. SW Tony says Fight are apparently working on the issues. Right, okay, so we've got Chris Dickinson taking on Dickie Mayer. Is it like that? E-R? Nice! Charging on the entranceway. Yeah, I mean, if these matches have got 10-minute time limits, then that's something that could be really focused on. So we know that these matches are going to be short and sweet. Do you know what I mean? He's gone over, he's grabbed a microphone, Chris Dickinson. We've already heard from him at the start of this show. Allow me to introduce myself. He says, that's an example of my work. Is this the best you've got? So he's just destroyed this Dickie Mayer, and he's saying, this is really the best you've got. Someone called 911 for this jabroni. This is why I'm here. I came to LA for this. Okay, so this guy is trying to get back into the ring. The bell has sounded. A little bit of personality for this match, which I really appreciate. So Chris has really run this guy down. Is his name Cruz? I thought his name was... Who is this guy? Who is he facing? Dickie Mayer is who is meant to be facing, but on his tights it says Cruz. Oh, okay, his name's Jordan Cruz. Okay, well, another change. It looks like there's been a few changes on this show. Joe Galley wasn't meant to be on. And this was meant to be against Dickie Mayer. That's what it was advertised as, and that's what was on the thing. But it's Jordan Cruz, who I've never heard of, don't know anything about. And he's getting beaten up. I haven't had it freezing in a while. Nice single leg Boston Crab. So, nice single leg Boston Crab. Marty Young, shout out to you, my friend. Gabe says, I would think that he would go to AEW or Impact before WWE. Heather says, £10 gold will always be around, even if the belt is gathering dust in someone's closet. No, well, it's not going away. This is it. They are going to have to find someone better for Chris to face in future. He's dominating this. Spun round, went for a lariat, but couldn't get it. Dickinson with a big back body drop goes for the cover. 2. No, just the 2 count. It's very good. I do like Chris Dickinson. He's brought some real personality to this show. I'd love to see him on Power. Out of everyone we've seen tonight, I would take Chris Dickinson. He's got real persona, real presence. I could imagine him cutting some promos and then jumping into the ring and trying to destroy someone. He's got a good physique about him. I'd also take Hammerstone, of course. I think the Tribe looked quite interesting. So those are the ones that are standing out to me. But, I mean, it's no surprise because Chris Dickinson's been competing for a long time. He's 33. He's competed in CZW. He's competed in Evolve. Nice snap mare kick to the back as well. And he's managed to pick up Cruz. Back elbow by Cruz. Okay, this feels like it's a bit better now. Holding on to the ropes, Dickinson. Lovely drop kick by Cruz. Look at what happened on Raw yesterday. So we've got Cruz backing up to the corner. We've got Dickinson in the other corner. Just as I said it was better, it glitches again. Adam Cole, baby, says John. This is depressing, says Heather. Why are you depressed, Heather? Talk to me. Talk to me, Heather. What are people thinking? Let's get some thoughts going. Big strike coming in. Robin says, I feel like Imperium would be perfect for NWA. Absolutely. Absolutely. Someone like Volta would be awesome. And actually, even Bartel and Eichner would be great as a tag team in that tag division. I mean, watching this, it makes you appreciate Power, doesn't it? The feeling that Power gave you. It just had so much personality. From the commentators to the studio setting to the crowd, with Orange Santa in the front row. And so, the crowd was awesome. The commentary team were great. The studio setting, you had Marquez that was doing the interviews. It just loads of the question mark and his little vignettes, the little funny adverts they were putting in. Just had so much personality. Danny Barnhouse says this is boring. It's on Fight TV. I like Chris Dickinson, says Jennifer Lockhart. I agree. I think he was very impressive. New Japan's Carl Fredericks in action next week. Okay, well, he'll be interesting to watch. Chris Dickinson getting the win. We're down to 2 matches. We've got the main event, and we've got Dan Joseph taking on Levi Shapiro. This is for the United Television Championship. Okay. Dan Joseph. There he is. I liked Chris Dickinson. I was impressed. I was as well. Can we get a Bay emoji for Adam Cole? Maybe we'll get a Bay. It's a bit specific. That's the only thing. Although saying that, the Tuck one's quite specific. Okay, so Dan Joseph out first. Who's this manager? He looks happy. Howdy Price. Howdy Price. The manager of Levi Shapiro. DKM says, I'm not a Howdy Price fan. Right, Levi Shapiro in there with Howdy Price. This is, I believe, our co-main event. This has got the UWN Television Championship on the line. Monica King, shout out to you. Levi could be the Universal Champion. They aren't giving the main event long if the show's only going to be an hour and a half. That's true. I mean, that might have changed. There's been a few changes here. I can only tell you from the commentator, the Tony guy. He did a little preview of this event, and he was saying that Joe Galli wasn't going to be on commentary. He is. We also thought that it was going to be Chris Dickinson against Dick Mayer. That changed for whatever reason. It could be that the hour and a half has been extended or something, or maybe they've overran. Maybe some of the matches have gone over. I'm not sure. We're underway with this match anyway. We've got Dan Joseph against Levi Shapiro. And we've got Dan Joseph in orange, Levi Shapiro in black. Nice strike across the back. Slamming down Joseph. Scoop up Shapiro, get slammed down. Going for the cover. I don't know if the lagging has stopped, but it has 100% improved. They've definitely managed to improve it. Nice arm drag. So I like Dan Joseph's ring attire. The orange pops. It looks good. Nice big back body drop. 1, 2. Just a 2 for Dan Joseph. Don't think I'll be able to watch next week's. Just not the best. I'm only here for the main event. I think that's what this is. I think this is built around its main event. I think it's a big main event, and they're using United Wrestling Network talents try and just fill out the card. I think the way to look at this show is like a boxing event. We were saying this earlier. When you watch Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder or whatever, you tune in for that. You don't necessarily tune in for the undercard. For me, this is just the undercard. Right, that match is finished, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Days, I didn't mean to offend. I just meant the £10 gold might have to go into storage again someday. Oh, I wasn't offended. I don't think it will, because it will continue to be defended on. I mean, they can book Aldis and the £10 of gold for whatever show they want. If I had a wrestling promotion, I could get in touch with Billy Corgan and see if I could get Aldis to defend the £10 gold on it. He's open to listening. So it's not as if it has to be done on NWA. Okay, main event time now. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if they're running out of time or whatever. Right, here is Maria. We're finally at the main event. Okay, here we go. Mike Bennett, Nick Aldis. This is for the £10 of gold. Roy Rees says, what is this pay-per-view called? It is called Primetime, United Wrestling Network Primetime. It's the first episode, and as I said, look at it as a killer main event. You've got your undercard. They're trying to tell you some big fights that you're going to get for future weeks. There's that Fredericks guy that's coming from New Japan. We know that we're going to see Eli Drake in action as well. They said there's going to be a few surprises and whatever. I've bought the first 4 episodes, and I'm going to be watching those first 4 episodes. They've got to fix the buffering issue, and they need to start telling some stories. Then the matches need a bit more purpose. Unless they're just aiming it at, like, the championship wrestling from Hollywood crowd, do you know what I mean, that already know who these people are. Because I'd imagine there's a good chunk of people that watch championship wrestling from Hollywood, that watch championship wrestling from Arizona, that watch championship wrestling from Memphis. Maybe they're pitching it largely at that audience and then just dropping a massive main event to try and attract everyone else. Here's Aldis. Aldis just walking down. No music for Aldis. Aldis throws his jacket out, not waiting around here. I don't understand. No music for Aldis, no grand entrance. Aldis just comes walking out. And we are underway with this main event as these two go at it. We saw the £10 of gold for this. This is the main event we've been waiting for. And Mike Bennett with some chops in the corner. Bennett looks in really great shape. Bennett going against the ropes. Forearm strike. Aldis going back against the ropes as well. Bennett with some big strikes against the ropes. And oh, spear by Bennett. And he takes out the ref. So the ref goes down. So Aldis outside the ring, just really selling those chops. Bennett jumping outside the ring as well. So more chops here by Bennett. And they're fighting over by the entranceway. And we've got Bennett out. I don't know what that was. I've got some buffering again. I think that was a tombstone. Booted. The National Treasure needs no music. I got the feeling. I mean, look, honestly, Aldis doesn't look happy here. I got the feeling that they've told him that he's got 10 minutes or so. I actually don't know what's happening now because I can't even tell you what's happening. The footage keeps looping. I just keep getting little moments of them outside the ring and then the tombstone. Now he's back outside the ring. Okay, Nick Aldis saying to Maria, telling Maria to step aside. Camille has come out. Camille has come out, so now we've got Camille getting in Maria's face. Camille is chasing Maria on the outside. So Camille has come out. This could be cool. I wonder if we could get Maria and Camille. Okay, something happened, but the camera wasn't looking at it. Do you think that Nick Aldis should go to AEW? I think the NWA deserve better than this. That's what I think. If you want my honest opinion, I love the NWA, and I think their talent and them deserve better than this show that's been put on tonight. I don't mind the undercard because, as I said, see it as a boxing match that's built around the main event. But the glitching, like you can't follow the match. I can't tell you what's happening because some of the footage just looped. There was a dive and we were at the wrong camera, so a slight production issue. We seem to be all right at the moment, though. Bennett going against the ropes, gets picked up, slammed down, a driver by Aldis, 2. Kick out by Bennett. You got Maria outside the ring. You got Camille that's come down. 7 Star says, welcome to Guess Wrestling, where you guess what's happening. Maybe Tony Khan should buy the NWA. They've got such incredible wrestlers. What they were doing with Power was so special. Super kick by Bennett. Back elbow. 1, 2. Oh, that was close for Bennett. That was close. Today's Thursday is my birthday. Well, happy birthday for Thursday, my friend. Famous KJ Carter. Heather Wright says, Carl Fredericks graduated from the LA dojo. No longer a young lion. Plus, it looks like he's slowly turning heel. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. I don't know anything about him. Tombstone by Aldis. Aldis going to the outside, climbing up onto the top. Elbow drop by Aldis. 1, 2. Kick out by Mike Bennett. I like the fact that Camille came out to support Nick. I like Maria. Maria banging on the edge of the ring as well. This does have a big fight feel. Aldis climbing, trying to climb up top, getting caught by Mike Bennett with a big chop. Here we go, Bennett climbing up. He's looking for superplex. He's got Aldis up top. Bennett with a big superplex. That was a good change of camera as well. That was nice, where you could see the whole ring. You could see it getting executed. A big spear. Bennett. 1, 2. Bit of drama now. Little bit of drama. Big superplex. They absolutely have got to take time away from the undercard. There's really no excuse for this match not having 25 minutes. Instead, it got given about 10 to 15. To the point where I think Aldis just cut his entrance. He's like, I'm just going out. He looked annoyed as he came out. Nice kick by Bennett. Oh, pile driver by Bennett. Bennett going over. Maria looking on. Here we go. 1, 2. Foot on the rope. Foot on the rope by Aldis. Maria losing her mind on the outside. That was good. That was close. Aldis just managing to get his foot on the rope. Maria's got the 10 pounds of gold. She's showing Bennett what he can have. So she's grabbed the belt. Bennett is looking at that 10 pounds of gold. He can't use it as a weapon. Why is he even thinking of using it as a weapon? I don't understand. The thing's fallen off the belt. The globe has fallen off the belt. I think the globe's come off. The NWA globe has come off the front of the title. Gets caught. Bennett firing in some strikes. The King's Lynn. Cloverleaf. And he steps over. Bennett in the middle of the ring. He's trying to get over to the ropes. Aldis drags him back in. It's right in the middle of the ring. He's going to struggle to get out of this. Aldis has got it really cinched in. Trying to crawl over. The belt is still in the ring, and it looks like the silver globe has come off. Bennett is trying to pull at the legs of Aldis. It looks like he's fading, actually. It looks like Bennett's going out. Looks like he's passing out from the pain. Referee saying a few, checking on him. He's done. It's called. Aldis has retained. Aldis retains. So there we go. We said it was going to run for an hour and a half. They gave that main event nowhere near the amount of time it needed. They're bringing the belt over. Joe Galley says this is the most chaotic defense. And Nick Aldis trying to cover the globe. I think he's got his hand over it to try and cover that the globe is missing. That was still probably the best match. There were some moments in that I thought were really good. I liked it when Aldis got his foot on the ropes. Although saying that, I did like the Hammerstone. If it weren't for the buffering, the Hammerstone match that started the event was decent. There is some respect in there. And they said, we'll see you next week for Primetime Live. So I think we're pretty much done. Dat King says, I'm done with Aldis. And that's it. Black screen. And we are done. I'm not going to score this show because how can you? I mean, it would be unfair because of the technical problems. So there's no way that you can, or there's no way I can score this show. For me, there's quite a few things that need to get sorted. But the only thing I'm going to say, well, the big thing is they have got to get the buffering sorted. I know we keep talking about it, but it's the talking point tonight, right? So they've got to get that sorted. main event did not get given enough time. This whole show was main event heavy for me. You look at the undercard and you go, okay, there's a few names there. Chris Dickinson, I thought, did really well. Alex Hammerstone looked awesome. There was a few things there, but I would have had less undercard matches. Lose a match, lose 2 matches if you want. Have less undercard matches. Let the show breathe a little bit more. It was kind of like match. You got the odd promo, but I've got to be honest, even those promos I didn't necessarily need. I didn't need that Eli Drake promo. Although we're actually gone back. For those that have stuck around, we got Joe Galley that's talking to Nick Aldis. Joe Galley says, what a hellacious battle. That main event needed more time. It needed half an hour. Aldis says, I was tested to my limit there. The reality is, Aldis says that was 51-49, so he's saying that he just got the win. I applaud you, and I welcome you back anytime you want. His name is Mike Bennett. He's a professional wrestler. He's just not the national treasure. Thunder Rosa in action. Right, there we go. We got a little promo after. Wrestling Days fan, shout out to you. Jennifer Lockhart says, I love Nick Aldis. Put in your thoughts. What do you think? Very good criticism. Hey, look, I love the NWA. It's, I would say, my favorite promotion. So I want to see them succeed. I want to see this succeed. I would love for this to be a massive success. Now, the paywall was always going to be an issue. But as I said, if every week they can give you a big mouth-watering match, yeah, and then fill the undercard with, really good talent. So you're seeing the best of tomorrow on the undercard, and then you've got this mega match at the top, right? And they can tell a few stories and they can build a few weeks in advance and do a few things like that. Then I could see this being good. I would enjoy that. I enjoyed Hammerstone being on this show. I enjoyed Chris Dickinson being on this show. So there's a few guys in there that I really enjoyed watching. Never a chore to watch Camille and seeing a Camille match. So that was cool. But if they can go out and get the best indie talent that's not in AEW and not in, obviously, NXT at the moment, but the stars of tomorrow, the people that you will see tomorrow, if they can go and get those people, then that's a great undercard. And then you make sure that you've got a strong main event. And I think that they should promote it that way. They should promote it of like the stars of tomorrow and a massive main event. But if you're going to do that, the main event has got to have half an hour. The timing was wrong on the show tonight. I think they've tried to put too much on the undercard. I don't know if so much ran long. Aldis has had to basically run out without any entrance music. It still had that big fight feel, but that's largely down to the £10 of gold that did the work. I don't know if next week's going to have the big fight feel. It might do because Thunder Rosa's on fire at the moment, but what do you do for week 3? you know what I mean? I mean, do you do the tag team championship, the NWA tag team championship? Do you bring in the Rock and Roll Express or something? I'm not sure. I don't know how you're going to keep that big fight feel. I don't know what they've got planned. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely something there. I don't want to keep talking about the buffering. That's just obvious that they've got to fix that. I would like a bit more. I'd like less matches. I would like more personality rather than just match of people that we don't know. And then the main event gets 10 minutes. So I kind of feel like that would be my constructive criticism, but nothing but love for the NWA. Joshua, is it Joshua? Ventura says NWA is amazing. I agree. Mad G says NWA needs a few people that are going to give some quality criticism, and they need to have fans in attendance. Jennifer says, I'm with Days. I can't fairly score this, but I'm not going to give up, and I'll be back next week. I'm the same. They will get this loud and clear. Throughout the show tonight, they were saying, give us your feedback. And I would urge that you do that. I would urge that you get in touch and drop them a tweet. I think they wanted it at #PrimetimeLive. So, you know, don't be afraid to share your real thoughts. Put it in a constructive way. Remember that this was week 1. And remember that, you know, these things are going to happen. They've happened with other promotions before. This isn't just exclusive to this, and they certainly haven't done it on purpose. So, you know, let your voice be heard. Send constructive criticism. But, you know, as well as saying, oh, it buffered for me or whatever, tell them what you want to see. Tell them what you want to see. Tell them the changes that you would like to see brought in. And for me, as I said, I'd like less matches, which might sound crazy, but I just think this show didn't have room to breathe and definitely overran, which is why Aldis had to run out without any entrance music. For me, this is all built around that main event. I seem to recall In Your House, the Canadian Stampede, that had 4 matches. That was In Your House. It ran for 1 hour 50 or something like that. So it was a little longer than what this was. And that had 4 matches on In Your House Canadian Stampede. And WWE obviously charged probably $15 for that back in the day. This was, I think, about $8, maybe $10. So they've tried to give you more, but sometimes less is more, because it gives the show room to breathe. You can tell us a bit more about these competitors. I'd love to know a bit of backstory on some of these people. I'd love for the matches to really feel like they meant something. You know, I mean, I don't know anything about the UWN TV Championship. I don't know how long Dan Joseph has been champion. I don't know some of the former champions. I'd love to know a bit more backstory on that. And honestly, if you only had 4 matches, you could really invest in some of that backstory. It's weird for me to sit here saying I would like some video packages and whatever, because I'm always very critical when WWE do that. Because we watch WWE every week. We watch Raw, we watch SmackDown. I've already seen what's in their video packages. This is episode 1 of this. I don't watch Championship Wrestling from Arizona and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Championship Wrestling from Memphis. So some video packages telling me the history and how these matches have come together and the history of the championships, that would really help. That would really help, and that would help me get emotionally more invested in the matches that I'm watching. I think then as well, you know, you can set up some stories for the future. There was some nice moments on this show. I liked Camille coming out in that main event. You know, Maria getting involved at the end as well. Some close falls between Nick Aldis and Mike Bennett. Nick Aldis saying he was pushed to his limit. You know, there was some good stuff. But, I mean, what did it get? 10, 15 minutes? It needed more room to breathe. It really did need more room to breathe. The walls are all black as well. Like, there's a real... It's got a bit of an NXT vibe in the sense of it's kind of like this void. It's this black void. Like, it might be better if you could see the commentary team. At least then you'd see some people. But the commentary team are kind of behind the camera, so you can't see them. I'd be tempted to move them round and maybe bring in some more furnishings or decorate the walls a little bit more, or even if it was just pictures of former NWA champions, or I don't know, pictures of like Power, or I don't know, but they're just black walls. It all feels very sterile. It feels like a studio, you know? So, I don't know. I feel like there's changes that need to be made, or could be made, let's put it that way. And I feel like if they do build it around main events, then they could have something. Because they could really shout about those main events every week, do you know what I mean? Really, really push those main events and get the wrestling world buzzing. Did you see this week? We're going to have Nick Aldis against the Great Muta. If they're doing that match as well, don't give it Pro Wrestling Noah. Put it on this. You're asking people to pay for this. That's a great match. Nick, sort the buffer in. And if you're going to do Nick Aldis against the Great Muta, which is being rumoured, but it's being rumoured for Pro Wrestling Noah, try and get it on this instead. That would be a killer main event. People would tune in for that. People would tune in just for that match. Great Muta, an absolute freaking legend. That would be incredible. That'd be incredible. NWA will get better if they team with AEW, says Robert. Robin says, Days, imagine the NWA World Champion Nick Aldis taking on the NXT World Champion Finn Balor. They don't have that arrangement, unfortunately, so I'm not expecting that. I mean, could they strike up a deal with AEW? You'd have to say that's a bit more likely. We've seen Ricky Starks go to AEW. We've seen Eddie Kingston go to AEW. Thunder Rosa's on the verge of going to AEW. There's clearly a connection there. So, you know, if Billy was to say to Tony Khan, look, we're really trying to get this off the ground, is there any chance we could borrow MJF? Is there any chance we could get, you know, for one date? Is there any chance that we could get, probably not Jericho or anyone like that, but could we get Sammy Guevara or something along those lines? Maybe. You'd have to think that's more realistic than them getting an NXT talent. But honestly, I don't know where they are with the likes of New Japan. I don't know if they could do anything with New Japan, or they had a great relationship with Ring of Honor. So there's every chance that they can get Ring of Honor talent to come in. It's hard to know who's out there, to be honest. I don't know who's out there on the indie scene. That Warhorse was very popular, wasn't he? He was on AEW the other week. They could potentially go and grab him and a few other names. Simon Miller, you know, from What Culture. I know that there's no flights at the moment, but he would bring all of the What Culture fans, and that wouldn't be the worst. I'm not saying for the main event. I'm just saying you could book him put him on the undercard, at least get a bit of buzz. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's some interesting people that they could look at. Heather says, sorry to be a Debbie Downer tonight. Take care and I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, no worries. You gotta be honest and say what you see. Al Slavinsky says, Aaron Sandow's championship from Hollywood was promoting this event for 3 weeks. I mean, I don't watch that show, and they will be promoting it because they're a massive part of it. So, you know, championship from Hollywood, championship from Arizona, championship from Memphis. Maybe that's who this is aimed at. Perhaps they don't want to give us the backstory to these matches because it's aimed at that market more. But as someone that doesn't watch those shows, you know, my time's largely taken up with WWE, AEW, and whatever. I'm an NWA fan. I'm watching because of the NWA. I would have liked some backstory. I would have liked some video packages. Again, even if it means that I got less matches. And honestly, if the main event's only going to be 10, 15 minutes each week, I would say they should look at giving us less matches anyway. Kind of feels like 7's a little bit too long. Days Fight is charging $23.99 for the first 4. They are, yes. Robert says, not to be negative, just my opinion. Hey, opinions are what we welcome, and I'll tell you now, NWA will welcome them as well. NWA has always appreciated honest, constructive feedback. It's always, that is the lifeblood. It's fans is the light. There's no point wrestling in front of no one like they are, and also having no one watch at home. We are the lifeblood, so they will want honest feedback, honest, constructive criticism, and that's the word, isn't it? Constructive, because we're not sitting here saying, "Oh, this is trash. We're never watching again. You've let us all down." Blah 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 blah. That's not the conversation. The conversation is there's something there. This could work, but there's got to be a few tweaks and changes. Roy Rees says, I would love to see Chris Jericho versus Nick Aldis for the NWA World Championship. What do you think? I agree. I think that would be awesome. I don't know if they can get Jericho. I don't know what he would cost them. I mean, you've got to think that even this, they're probably not making tons of money. I mean, are they making more from this than they would be from Power? You would have to say yes. But equally, how much is Fight charging them? I mean, hopefully nothing after what Fight just did. But, they've got to pay for Fight. They've got to pay for the production, the broadcasting. They've got to pay for the studio. They've got to pay for Hammerstone. They've got to pay for the talent they're using. Again, if you have less matches, that's less talent that you're having to pay for. So I really would cut the matches down. I really would try and cut the matches down. Build it around that main event. Wrestling Days fan says, I enjoyed the stream. Shout out to you, my friend. RJ Madma, shout out to you. John says, who is getting Battlegrounds here? That's coming soon, isn't it? In a couple of days. What is your Nick Aldis dream match? Says Robin813. I think probably Great Muta. Great Muta, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Obviously competed in WCW. Japanese legend. Honestly, one of the all-time greats. So to see that I know he's old. He's like 57 or something. So I don't know. I haven't seen what he would be able to do in the ring. I think he might have been on Impact fairly recently. So he's still, doing stuff out there. I think for me, I would love to see Aldis take on a legend of that stature. It's great seeing him face the likes of Mike Bennett and Marty Scurll and people like that. I mean, I'd love to see him take on Okada. I mean, that match has been spoken about loads of times. Okada's regarded as the best wrestler in the world right now. So to see Aldis going up against Okada would be fascinating. But I don't know what the relationship is like with New Japan. So you could sit here and throw names out, But I'd love to see Aldis take on Kenny Omega. I'd love to see Aldis take on Johnny Gargano. I think that, they'd all be killer matches. But realistically, I don't see them happening. But I keep coming back to this rumour. Aldis against the Great Muta is heavily rumoured to be happening in a few weeks' time. And apparently taking place on Pro Wrestling Noah. So we'll have to wait and see. Robert, shout out to you, my friend. Monica says, Days, is there anyone on the card that you didn't know before that you think is good? I just couldn't really get into it because of the buffering, if I'm being perfectly honest. I haven't seen a great deal of Chris Dickinson. I haven't seen a lot of Evolve or CZW, but I do know the name. I can't say that there's anyone that I completely didn't know before that has shone. But that's not necessarily their fault. It's more the technical problems. But I think I didn't know a great deal about Chris Dickinson. I know he's a legend, and I've seen some of clips of his matches on YouTube. But to actually sit down and see his promos, watch a whole match, I liked his promo style. Very confident on the mic. Gave a very good account of himself. Very arrogant. Clearly was the heel. That was the other problem as well. You're going into these matches with people you don't know, and you're like, who's the face? Who's the heel? What's the story? Who should I root for? Why should I care about this match? Not in a disrespectful way, but What's help me? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the backstory? And Chris Dickinson didn't have a great deal of time. You know, he attacked his opponent before the match even started and then cut a promo saying, "Is this the best you've got?" Started running his mouth. And you're kind of like, yeah, do you know what? I want to see him go up against someone better. Like Chris Dickinson, if they book Chris Dickinson against Hammerstone for a few weeks' time, we've seen Hammerstone win tonight and we've seen Chris Dickinson win tonight. That could be fascinating. Not as a main event, but that would be a very strong co-main event. And this is what I'm saying, like, all of a sudden now, you know, you get the ball starting to roll and you can start to do some interesting stuff like that. Like, they could have booked Camille versus Maria for a few weeks' time. We saw them face-to-face outside the ring, and all of a sudden, you've then got these killer main events, and then the co-main events are like Camille versus Maria. Or that could actually main event, in all fairness. Easily that could main event. But you could do Chris Dickinson against Hammerstone, and like that could be quite interesting. And they're still, you know, they're still finding their feet. We're still going to get introduced to some new people next week. I mean, obviously New Japan's strong. There's a lot of New Japan talent that are stuck in the US. Is there any chance they could get hold of some of that? And they've got this Fredericks guy that I'm not familiar with, but you know, Heather was saying that he's a young lion. That's not really a young lion anymore. Graduated through the LA dojo. They've managed to get him. You know, could they reach out to anyone else? I mean, you got Trevor Murdoch, who I don't think is doing anything at the moment. Aaron Stevens. I mean, we've got loads of NWA stars that we know and love that they can always go and grab. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting. And then you've got people like Danny Jordan. Danny Jordan, who is 0-5 on AEW. She gets used on Dark a lot. She was on Circle Squared for NWA. She's got a little following now. You know, people, if you use her in a women's match on the undercard, people would know who she was. There is something there. Holidead. Holidead, people know about Holidead. Why don't you go and grab Holidead? Get Holidead in a match. Holidead versus Danny Jordan on the undercard. Hammerstone against Chris Dickinson. Main event, Nick Aldis, Great Muta. Do 4 matches. That's a great card. That's a great card. So I feel like you sort the buffering out. You give us a card like that. You give us a bit of backstory. They're so good at doing it for £10 of gold. Why can't they just do like little video packages for this? Take it from 7 matches down to 4. Less people to pay. More time for the show to breathe. I think that'd be good. Dat King says, Frederick is legit. Anyone that gets trained by Shibata has my trust to be a star. Agreed. Robin says, any plans to do NXT this Thursday? The card looks strong. Probably not. Just because of Wrestling Escape Pod. So if I could fit it in, I might do. John Harrison, shout out to you, my friend. Chalmers says, yes, Holidead. Mr. Fretz, hope you are well, buddy. Did Camille win? She did, yes. I think she did. She did. WWE is an island to themselves, and they like it that way. Yeah, they do tend to keep themselves to themselves, don't they? And they don't tend to really interact much. We have seen the NWA Championship on WWE TV a couple of times in the past, though. So, you know, I mean, Flair, when he left WCW in the early 90s, he brought over Big Gold with him. And I believe at that point it was still had the connections with the NWA. Because obviously they did part ways. But I think that was still the NWA Championship at that point. And Dan Severn, when he came into WWE in the late 90s, was NWA champ. We saw the £10 of gold on Raw. It's been on Raw. So it would be awesome if they could get that relationship again. And I think it would really benefit WWE as well, because they would have access to some incredible talent if they could. You know, I mean, Nick Aldis in particular, but Camille. I mean, Camille just looks awesome. She would be great in a women's division, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Do you see WWE signing Tessa? Look, that's another name. Tessa's just kicking her heels at the moment. She could end up being used on this. I think the thing with Tessa is there's question marks around her and her as a person, and it needs to be properly investigated. These allegations were made. She denied them, but so many women spoke out against her. Her denial wasn't really strong enough, because also part of her denial was we all make mistakes. Her denial was, look, I absolutely deny the allegations against me, but we do all make mistakes. And you're kind of like, what? What do you mean? You're either denying it or saying that we all make mistakes, which means you're kind of admitting it. So I don't know. She's a big talent though. She's a free agent that's out there. If she could, and it's in her benefit to clear this up. If she could clear that up, then she would be a big name for them to use. But I wouldn't want to see him going that way until all of that's resolved. And seemingly WWE haven't touched her, and neither have AEW. Because you would think if they were going to get her, they would have got her and brought her in for All Out, you know? So it doesn't look like anyone's touched Tessa yet. The NWA faction in 98. Mr. Fretz says the new Midnight Express versus Rock and Roll Express. Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart. Chalmers says NWA should be open to any collaboration. I think they are. The brand exposure would be great. Is the Mystery Woman's comment? We did. It's they were a bit too serious, you know. The lag has got. Oh, was there a bit of lag for a sec? Should be all right. I've got a green thing, so. I'm really excited for Volta versus Dragunov. It's been 5-6 months since we've seen Volta, and he's one of the best. Sonny Wolf, shout out to you. A couple more minutes, and then we will say goodbye. I think we've kind of said everything there is to say about this. I think next week they will sort the buffering. I really do. I think it's too important. I think next week's main event of Thunder Rosa against Priscilla Kelly, I hope that gets longer than the 10-15 minutes they gave the main event tonight. I think that there's some interesting people that's going to be on the show. Eli Drake, we know that we're getting. We also know that we're getting Fredericks, who I'm very excited about. Don't know much about, but it seems like people in the chat are excited about him. So I think that next week's got potential. And I just hope that they learn a few things and make next week even stronger. Monica says, agreed, she's going to have to do more than just deny a few allegations if she wants to get somewhere. Behaviour like that is disgusting. I don't blame the ones who don't want her in their workspace. Very well said. Very well said. No denying she's a big name, though. And if they can get it sorted, and that's the caveat. I'm not saying just bring her in. Because honestly, if you've been watching these streams and you've been on this channel, you'll know my feelings on this subject is that it's got to be investigated. But get it investigated, establish the truth, and if we can move forward, then she is going to be a great addition to any roster. There's no denying that. She's a great promo. She's great in the ring. Her selling is exceptional. She's a great talent. I've never denied her talent. You can't deny her talent. She's a fantastic wrestler. But this is a black cloud that's hanging over. And right now, she's got a few options. There's a few places that she could go. But yeah, they've just got to get that sorted. And this is one of them, They get it sorted. They could use her here for a little bit, and then she could go to AEW or go to WWE. Damien says NWA needs to get some new faces in. I think what they had was pretty good, and I think that they were using Circle Squared to try and find a few new faces. But obviously the whole thing's just collapsed now because of the pandemic, and now without a crowd you can't run Power. A lot of Power's appeal was the crowd. The crowd brought so much personality. This show definitely suffered without a crowd, but there's nothing you can do about that. all wrestling shows are suffering without a crowd. NXT has massively suffered without a crowd. It feels like a black void. So at least AEW's got Daly's place and you can see the outside and it's quite an interesting space. NXT doesn't have that. Sadly, this doesn't have that either. But, you know, they tried their best with it. And, yeah, it was interesting. Roy Reeves says Nick Aldis versus John Moxley versus Drew McIntyre for the NWA. Well, I think there's a little bit of dream in there, but it's good to dream. Brandon says Nick Aldis, Seth Rollins. I think there's a lot of dream in there. Dat King says, I hope my dream comes true. And me talking about Triple T about New Japan on the Escape Pod. It's Triple T about New Japan on the Escape Pod. Oh, you want to talk to Triple T about New Japan on the Escape Pod? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with it. I don't even know what we're talking about this week, if I'm being honest. Robin813 says, where was the question mark? There's a few... Damien said, I really like Luke Hawks. Yeah, I can't remember. That was a tag team, wasn't it? What were they called? The Hawks something. Not the Hawks, bro. It was father and son, wasn't it? I can't remember what they were called now. It was a weird team name, but the Hawks something. But they were like a tag team that was on Circle Squared. Apparently, there was meant to be an awesome few people on Circle Squared that we still haven't seen. There's a few episodes of Circle Squared that's still in the can. We still haven't seen them. And I know that Thunder Rosa was really impressed with some guy that's on Circle Squared that we've still never seen. So, but I mean, it showed. I mean, look at that Hobbs. You know that Hobbs guy that was on AEW. I didn't know who he was, but for me, he was the shining light in that battle royal on All Out. So sometimes you can have these indie guys, this talent that's bubbling underneath. Sometimes you can have these guys really break out, really stand out, shine, you know. So don't let the fact that some of these people, some of these names are people you're not familiar with. We've got that Jarvis Cottonbelly. He's a really cool guy. I like him. I've seen him on Wrestle Circus. So he's going to be in action next week. And Eli Drake. And that Fredericks guy. And it's Thunder Rosa against Priscilla Kelly. So I'm going to keep the faith. In the words of John Bon Jovi, keep the faith. Monica says, Days, do you remember Blackcraft Wrestling I was talking about? It's now free on you. Send me the link. I'd love to see that. Yeah, send me the link. Are you doing any more toy hunts? We will, but just nothing coming up anytime soon. Hawk Aries. Yes, Damien, thank you. Hawks Aries. Right, friends, I think we're done. Thank you to everyone that joined us. I know this was different. I know there was some technical difficulties, but hey, look, that's how these things go sometimes. But I really appreciate everyone joining us all the same. The £10 of gold was defended tonight. Mike Bennett digging deep, just couldn't quite get the job done. And we are going to move on to next week when Thunder Rosa, who is the talk of the wrestling world at the moment, she will be in action defending the NWA Women's Championship against Priscilla Kelly. If Thunder Rosa has signed with AEW, then we could see a new champion next week. So that is definitely something worth bearing in mind. We could see a new champion next week. Have to wait and see. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.